Well, first of all, I would like to be the first one to introduce you to the Brenner B Show. Welcome. You're my first guest that I'm not ambushing and just randomly Zoom calling. This is actually planned out. Which
So wait, your first guest didn't know.
oh, he had no idea. I literally with Mike, I literally called him and I was like, "Hey man, uh, what are you doing right now?" And he's like, "Oh, I just took my family to the park." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Oh, you don't have time." He's like, "No, I can talk." I was like, "You got Zoom on your phone?" And he goes, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, Zoom call me. I'm gonna Zoom call you right now."
And then he sees a microphone and he's like, what the hell's going on?
That's the first thing he has. Like, why do you have a professional microphone? Like, well,
Well, that's awesome. Well, at least he was a
yeah.
good sport about it.
hmm Oh, great. He's my best friend from Michigan. So yeah, I knew. And it's so funny is that when I did like the original Brenner B show, we were roommates during that time frame. He hated it. He oh my god, because I was so
So you did this
obnoxious with it.
before.
And yeah, well, I never did a podcast, but I did I did like a web series. Like it was like 5 to 10 minute episodes where I would talk about random stuff. Like I would talk instead of talking to people, I would talk to the audience, and I
Gotcha.
would just talk about like random stuff like news and sports and stuff like that. And this is why I kind of wanted to continue off on that note, just but in podcast form and actually talking to people. So
Solid.
hmm
It's funny because when you asked me, you're like, hey, like, would you want to be on a podcast? I I don't know if you met my buddy Trey at my wedding.
yeah.
He like we bought so me, him, Jotham, Randy, and our buddy Ro, who they were all at the wedding, they were like, let's make a podcast. And it was like, we bought like equipment, like all this stuff. And like, we still have it. We just haven't filmed anything. So, like, because we haven't all had like schedules to film together. So
Right, I understand
it's
that.
funny
Yeah.
because we were planning, this was like last year.
Oh man, really?
Yeah, it was in the works. So I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody about it right now if we
Right,
don't
right.
do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny. And then you're like, I'm making a podcast. And I'm like,
Right.
oh,
Dude,
well,
I bought this
let's do it.
microphone for like a year and a half ago, and I didn't know what I was gonna be doing with it. I was like, I had this idea, but I had this light and everything else, and I was like, oh, maybe I can just do like TikTok videos with something like that. And I was like, nah, I was like, I don't have time to do TikTok. I'd rather like talk to people instead of like doing all that cutting and editing. I mean, I can do that for a podcast, but to just do like
Yeah.
random videos about stuff. I mean, I do have a couple of TikTok videos, but like I make cocktails. I mean, I just
Okay.
do different stuff with cocktails, and that's pretty much it. And that's what I use that for, because
Solid.
that's what I follow. Most of the TikTok I follow on TikTok, I follow comedians, um, cocktail makers, and that's pretty much it. I kind of just scroll like 10 minutes a night. I don't even have it on my phone. I only have it on my iPad because I don't want to have they always say about that stuff about TikTok, but
Got you. Were you off today?
no, I work late.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, like 6?
Yep. 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I know.
I was thinking that too. I was gonna say, I was like, is this guy gonna work tonight after this?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
I
like you
basically
already
was
slept.
just getting up. Yeah, I slept. Yeah, because I got out. I didn't get out till 2 o'clock in the morning yesterday, and then I slept for about 7 hours, and then my daughter woke me up, and then I was like trying to go
Mhm.
back to sleep, and I'm like, like I'm not gonna be able to sleep.
Right?
So that's why I texted you. I'm like, yo, can you get on earlier? Because like
Yeah,
I gotta get stuff going.
I've done nothing today. Well, not true. I did go to the driving range. I didn't hit balls today because I hit balls yesterday, but I'm working on the short game too, so I did most of that for like an hour and a half today. That was about it.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Trying to get my golf game back, man. I might have
Yeah.
to make a run at it.
Oh man, yeah, there you go. I know. I haven't. Dude, actually, the last time I went golfing was when I went golfing with you and
And
Brian.
Brian,
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was last time.
I kind of
Well,
figured.
yeah. Just speaking of Brian, I asked Brian if he wanted to be on here, and he's like, no. Nah. And he goes, I'm like, dude, I was like, you know so much about sports. I was like, we could talk about the Packers. We could talk about, we could talk about all kinds
True.
of different stuff. And he's like, nah, it's not for me. I was like, all right.
He's
So
not. He doesn't have a personality for that.
there you go. That's kind of what he's kind of like. I would see like his girl is more extroverted than
Yes.
he is. He's kind of like the
Rachel is
introverted
very
one.
much extroverted, and he is not.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
you could probably get her on this podcast,
Right. Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
she'll be
She'll
like, "Yeah,
probably
I'll talk about this. I'll talk about this," and like he'll be like, "I'm staying away."
right, right, exactly. It would be nice. Maybe I could convince her to have them both at the same time. That would be hilarious.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
Have a doubles podcast. I'll say you're gonna have Bree and Ian on here probably too.
That would be a good time. They're
They'll
funny
do a
too.
doubles podcast
Oh
too.
yeah. I could just only imagine because yeah, but that's what I love about Bree and Ian though. They both are actually, but they're both very talkative. Like they both can carry on a
Yeah,
conversation, and they both like feed off each other. Like will like go into one another. So funny to me. I think that
it is funny.
they would be hilarious as well. Speaking of the Packers, though, I have my beautiful
Ooh,
cheesehead mug. This was a gift for
speaking
my
of
birthday,
them, so
dude.
what's your everybody's got an Aaron Rodgers take. So my obviously Nicole is from Wisconsin. She's a Packer fan,
Right?
and she's kind of over him, which I get, like makes sense.
Yeah. He's not his
Her
prime
her
anymore.
dad, he's kind of over him too, but I don't know. It was funny because the whole time leading up to the wedding when they were here, they were asking me like, "What do you think about Aaron Rodgers? What do you think's gonna happen with Aaron Rodgers?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what's gonna happen with Aaron Rodgers because I don't think he knows." And
Right.
then at that time, I don't think he actually knew. And
Uh,
the Jets hadn't been like they hadn't came to the forefront yet saying like we want him. So it was kind of he was just coming out of his darkness retreat.
right.
And I was thinking like, just I think the best thing for both sides is just to end it and just let Aaron Rodgers move on, go wherever he's gonna go. Let the Packers move on. They spent a first rounder on Jordan Love. You should probably see if he's actually going to be the future. And if he's not, at least you know, you didn't keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and then you had to re-sign him because he has like 1 year left on his deal.
That's so funny that you said that. I was just reading the news article before we got on this about
Sign an
how they
extension.
there you go. Right, exactly. Instead of giving him the 5th year contract, they actually re-signed him as an
But think
extension,
about
which
it.
I
They
think
gave,
that's
I believe it was like $22 million, something like that,
because it's still in a
for the
rookie
1 year.
contract, isn't it?
Well, he was, but then because they were like, well, we don't want to, they didn't pick up his 5th year option in time. They had to then, if they were going to give him a true 5th year, so his contract wouldn't run out at the end of the year, they had to extend him, which they did at like $22 million. And that's a lot of money for a guy who's never started a full season in the NFL.
That's
Like
very true.
the franchise tag is 32 million. And that's like the Ravens were going to give Lamar the franchise tag. So imagine Lamar Jackson, who's won an MVP in the league, would be getting paid $10 million more than a guy who's never started full time in the NFL.
Isn't that
Like I
crazy?
thought that was an interesting move by the Packers, but beyond that, I think it's good that they moved on. So I think Packers fans need to be patient, but I think it's a good thing in the long run.
Right. I agree with you. So as of yesterday, which was Tuesday, the day of the 5th year option deadline for 2020 first rounders, the Green Bay Packers made the interesting decision to give the quarterback of the future, Jordan Love, a 1 year extension in place of exercising his option. So instead of making 20.2 million in salary in 2024, Love can earn up to 9 million in salary next season on top of the 13.5 million signing bonus that he'll receive this year.
So a total of 22.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. How crazy is that?
That's nuts. I mean, we clearly got in the wrong business. We should have learned how to play quarterback at a very young age. If me and Nicole have kids, we have a son.
You're gonna put him into
Um,
sports early, huh?
well, yeah, I'll put him in some other stuff, but if he does want to play football, I'll be like, you can play football on a couple conditions. I'll be like, there's only a few positions you can play, and we're okay with it. Basically, it's quarterback, wide receiver, and cornerback. That's
There you
it.
go. There you go.
Nothing else.
What
Because
about
those guys have been
linebacker?
paid.
I mean, you could have a bigger kid, man. It could be a potential linebacker. You never know, depending on his
I don't know,
size. Like
man.
you got to
Because
see how
like
thick the boy is.
I mean, Nicole's got some size, and like I'm not a small guy, but
Right.
I'm not like a huskier dude. And the thing is, too, our parents aren't either. Like my dad is pretty much the same as me as you
Yeah,
saw,
your dad's naturally
and
thin. Yeah.
and her dad is even thinner than us.
Right, right.
So
And
I'm
he's
like, man,
tall too, bro.
yeah.
Dude, oh my god, the
I
tall
think
family. I'm like, my
I
goodness.
think Dick he's shrunk a little bit even in the time that I've known him.
Oh,
He's
really?
probably shrunk a little bit because I remember the first time I met him, and I knew he was tall because Nicole said, "Yeah, my dad's about 6'6" ish," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm expecting this big, massive dude, and I found out we weighed like the same amount. He was just way taller than me,
Jeez, that's
but I
crazy.
think he's probably about 6'5" now.
Oh yeah,
He's shrunk quite a bit.
yeah.
Old age.
Dang, yeah. That's how it does. That definitely happens to you because like your what is it? Your bones don't do like you don't absorb the same, and that's what it is, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I think I don't know what age it starts at, but my dad's he's shrunk a little bit too because he used to be like a good inch or two taller than me. Now we're like roughly the same.
oh yeah. Who is he?
Yeah,
Is he in the 50s?
yeah. He's fit or no, he's in his 60s. My dad is
Oh, in his
67.
60s. Got it. I
He'll
think
be
it's in the
68.
50s. I think I'm I'm not like taller than my dad. Me and my dad have always been like around the same height, and I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure like we're literally he like I think he's a little bit shorter than me now
Hmm.
since I last saw him at least. It felt like that.
Damn.
Yeah,
Is
it's
your
crazy.
mom short?
Oh yeah, she's super short. She's like 5'2".
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank God I got height, bro. I was like,
Like I say, you lucky you got the
oh
height
my
you
God,
got.
my little brother, bro. Yeah, I'm the tallest in the family besides my half brother because he's not from the same mom. But um my little brother, he's only like 5'8", 5'9".
Oh,
I was the highest that he got, and he's like 20. He's gonna be 20. I think he just turned 25. Yeah,
I know. Nicole's brother got the short end too because he's like he's 5'9", maybe 5'8", 5'9", maybe. Nicole's
yeah.
taller than him.
Right. And his younger brother, you said? Her younger brother?
Older brother.
Oh, older brother. Oh
Yeah,
God. Oh man.
I
Jeez.
know, right?
Yeah, that's
Little
rough.
sister just bullying you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's how. Oh my God, dude. And my sister, she was a tank growing up. I've always been like this. Like I'm so serious. Like I've been tall. Like I was like that was average height growing up. You know, like now I'm almost 6 foot. But the
Mm,
dude, I was always like super thin. You know, I didn't always have muscle. It wasn't until like I became an adult and was able to grab that, like hold on to that. But my
mhm.
sister, she was just naturally a beast, bro. Like she would just beat up the boy. She would beat up me. She would beat up my best friends. Like we would come up and we would mess with her. But it was like like towel whipper and all this other stuff, bro. And then she would give me black eyes
Just
and she broke
just
my
smack.
teeth out. Oh my god, dude, laid a smack down. And she's like less than 2 years younger than me too.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
She whooped me.
She's still a beast.
No, she's really thinned out. She was though, man, like all the way probably until I would say probably until her early 20s, and then all of a sudden then she leaned out and she's now she's like thin. So I was like, it's so funny because I moved to Arizona and then I moved back to Michigan and I saw her for like the first time in a few years and I was like, geez, I was like, you've lost a lot of weight. She's like, okay, thanks. Appreciate it. Like she didn't take it that way. She was actually like she hit me. The first thing she did was hit me because I
No.
said that. It's because she was like, oh, should I say I'm fat? Blah blah blah. It's like, bro, you were always hefty. Let's be honest.
Oh, man. That's funny.
Yeah.
The cup, like, does it just say cheesehead on it, your
Yeah,
cup?
it says Cheesehead and then it says 1987. So I'm
Ah,
not sure. It says original. But yeah, my one of my best friends from Arizona, he actually got that for me.
very cool.
Yeah, and he also got me a cheese head too, because dude, for years I was
The
like,
actual
I wanted
cheese?
the actual cheese head, yeah, and I was like, man, I was like, I really want a cheese head, and I was just kept saying it, and I was hinting at my ex-wife to get it for me, and instead of her getting it for me, he got it for me. I'm like, all right, that's loyalty. That's like my best friend right there.
Right? There you go.
That's right.
Cheese heads, man.
That's right.
So, do you have any topics you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, there was something else that I was gonna go off of, and totally lost my train of thought because you said something, and I was like, dude, we gotta talk about that, and then I forgot already.
Mm-mm-mm. Funny, because I thought I was like, well, I was like, they probably want to talk some sports since I'm It's all I talk. I talk sports all the time.
Right, right,
And I was like, oh, Aaron Rodgers makes
right.
sense. When you brought up the
Yeah,
Cheesehead thing, that made sense. So I was
yeah.
like, oh, let's go with that.
Oh, that's
I
well, one of the things I was gonna say about the Bryant, I was like, I was actually hoping. Oh, that's the thing. Darkness, the Aaron Rodgers darkness retreat. Okay, thank you. Because now you're making
mm,
me like think about it again. Okay, first thing off, I was hoping that he would go to the Raiders. That's what I was hoping for. So I was like, I would definitely if he went to the Raiders, I was like, I would definitely go to the game. I was like, Raiders. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Raiders versus Packers this year too. So I was like, I would definitely
they play.
be.
Hmm.
I thought so.
See,
Maybe not.
they
I know
might.
it's
Let's see.
I know it's
I
going to be Raiders versus Jets. I think it's going to be. Oh no, they don't have the actual schedule yet, so I'm not sure if it's home or away.
let me see.
But I said I would be down to go to that game.
So let's say I don't think the schedules have been released yet.
Yeah, not the actual,
Oh,
but
it
they
shows
have the
their.
teams that they
Oh
play.
no, they do play the Packers at home.
See,
Yep,
I was
yep.
like, man, that
They
would have
play
been
the. They
awesome
also
if he
play.
went to the
They've also
Raiders.
played the Jets at home too.
Dude, that's what I was saying. Like both of those, I was like, man, I'll be willing to go because I was already talking to Brian about that, and
Mhm.
I want to go to one of those games, whether it be the Jets versus that or Raiders versus Packers. And I'm pretty sure it's like the weeks are like back to back like that too. So something
Mm,
close. The schedule's not actually out, but it does have like the teams and whether it's home or away.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
they get both of them.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I only thought Aaron Rodgers might come here just because Devontae's here. I
That's
figured
what
he
I
might be
thought
like,
too.
well, he's like, maybe he'll try to get him to come here.
Right,
But
right. I think they were trying
um,
to get him before they signed Jimmy G, and when they realized that he wasn't going to come, they were like, okay, well, we better find somebody else because we already got rid of Derek Carr.
yeah, I actually like the Jimmy G signing. I thought it was a good signing.
I thought so too. I thought that's a good pickup for Raiders. We'll see how they do anything though, because they really need to work on. They have a lot to work on. So,
Their defense is
yeah, I was
so.
yeah.
I'm big on the draft. I don't know if you knew that.
Hmm.
So I follow the draft very heavily. And I actually liked what they did in the draft. They didn't do too bad. They had a decent amount of picks, so they got some players. I got to look and see who they actually took because I did look at their draft and I was like, oh, that's a solid draft. Raiders. So, yeah, they got an edge rusher in the first round. He was seventh overall pick. So, and I guess I've heard some people said he was the best pass rusher in the draft. And I didn't really watch him a lot. He played at Texas Tech, and Texas Tech's defense is awful. But then
Right.
again, I'm like, okay, if they identified this guy on a team that wasn't very good as being one of the better pass rushers in the draft, I figure he's probably decent. So I thought that was a good pick. I actually think their best pick was their second pick. They got a tight end to replace Darren Waller, who was like Darren Waller was huge for them.
Right.
Like he was, I mean, outside of Devontae, that was their best offensive piece, and I think he's on the Commanders now, or he's on some other team. I don't know, but Darren Waller's gone, so they replaced him with Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, who's really really good.
Oh
So
wow.
I thought the Raiders had a good draft. I think they're going to be bad still, but I think their offense should be better.
Yeah.
Derek
That's what.
Carr, not a big fan. Not a big fan.
Yeah, I don't think not many fans of Derek Carr. Where was he? He was with who was he with before Raiders? I can't even remember now.
Who?
Derek Carr.
The Raiders drafted him.
They did?
Yeah,
But wasn't he with another team before he went with to go play with what or no, maybe I was just thinking because he was in Oakland the entire time and then he went over to
yeah.
the Raiders. Damn,
The
that's probably
Raiders
what it
drafted
was.
him. He'd been a Raider his whole career,
Dang,
and
that's crazy.
you know, he seems like a good guy. Like his press conferences, everything. He seems like a nice guy, but I don't think he's not the guy to lead this particular team. So, I think him going to the Saints actually hurts the Saints.
You
But
think so?
I I I don't like this. I didn't like the signing for the Saints. They gave him a ton of money, which
Right.
you had to. He's a quarterback, so
Yeah.
I get that. But yeah, I didn't like the signing for the Saints, and I'm like, the Saints could have got, I think, essentially whoever they wanted if they were willing to pay them because they're already a pretty good team. They have a good roster. You look at their offense, like, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, like they have pieces there.
Right.
And I'm sure if they were like, hey, Aaron Rodgers, would you like to come to New Orleans and we'll pay you this? He'd probably think about it. That's a lot of weaponry to use.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
Deshaun Watson, they could have gotten on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes last year. They didn't do that.
Right.
So then, okay, he went for Derek Carr. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I don't think they got any better.
Probably
The
not.
Raiders, I think, got better by just getting a different guy in there.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, I mean, I don't know. I liked. I'm not the biggest fan of Jimmy G either, but I think that he's decent.
I think
Like,
he's solid, more than
yeah,
solid. And I think that's you just need solid quarterback play. Like Derek Carr led the league in picks last year. On a team with a defense that bad, you can't have that because you're gonna end up winning 5 games or 6 games like they did.
right, right.
So end up
What's your
picking them in
Super
the top
Bowl
10.
prediction?
So I thought about that before I came on here because I knew we were gonna
Awesome.
talk
There
football.
you go. Yeah, exactly.
Um,
I gotta know that.
it's I usually don't make a prediction this early. I can tell you right now,
Neither do I.
the Eagles probably had the best, if not one, they had probably one of the 3 best drafts of all the teams in the NFL.
Really? You think so?
They had a fantastic draft because they
Dang.
they got a lot of players and they got a lot of guys who were some of them had questionable character issues,
Okay.
but they drafted a lot of them from the same team, so they're going to have people that they're familiar with. They shouldn't get in trouble off the field. They should be good with that. And Philly's got a strong culture because you know, they already have a winning culture. So, I think they'll be fine. And they already had the best team in the NFC, arguably anyway,
All right.
and they
Yeah.
just added to it. So
Right.
I would put them probably in the driver's seat to win it all.
Wow.
After that,
So NFC
man,
now.
there's like 3 teams from the AFC I'm kind of looking at. Obviously, the Chiefs. There's nothing broke there, so they should be in the mix. Assuming health and Pat Mahomes stays healthy, they should be somewhere in the conversation at the end.
Right.
Um, Man, I think Baltimore's got a real good shot. After re-signing
You're a
Lamar.
Ravens fan though, aren't you?
Yeah, and I'm not a
Oh
Lamar, and I'm not a Lamar guy. I actually don't like that we re-signed Lamar for that amount of money, but I don't think
man,
it's
he
going to hurt
got
us this year. It's going
no.
to hurt us in like 2 years,
I would say yeah, probably
3 years.
after two. I think he'll do good this year and next year, but if he gets injured, you're screwed.
Yeah. So I think Baltimore's window is pretty open for the next year or two, and then it'll close after that. But right now, they should be one of the favorites in the AFC for sure.
Yeah.
And then my other probably I'd say favorite should be Buffalo because Buffalo should be good again.
Oh yeah, Josh Allen, dude, the
They had
whole
a pretty
team. They're
solid
so
draft.
absolutely. And they had a solid draft too.
Yeah,
See, the
their
only thing
first
about
round pick.
drafts is that they don't necessarily always start with those guys. That's the only thing about like when I say like, oh, like, I pay attention to the draft and I just to see what it is. Like I don't like watch it unless I'm with like
Right.
friends or whatever. But like I'll pay attention to like see like who they picked up. But it's like I don't pay attention to it that closely because they don't necessarily start them. They'll be like, okay, you're going to be on the practice squad for the first year. We're going to test you out, and then we'll, depending on your performance, then we'll see, if you're actually going to start or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot more guys are playing now, especially if you draft somebody in the first round, they're playing. Like
Absolutely.
you draft somebody in
I
the
agree with
second
that.
round, they're probably going to play.
Yeah.
You start to get in that like third to fourth round range. These are like fringe starters, like guys who they'll contribute
Right.
year one, but they may not necessarily play like tons of snaps.
Yeah.
Everybody after like the fourth round, you're playing special teams, so you earn a spot. Like you're running on kickoff return, you're running on kickoff. Like you're going to do that for probably a year or two, and then if you suck in training camp, they might just put you on the practice squad or cut you straight up. So
Yeah.
it depends. I think Buffalo though with their first round pick was a tight end out of Utah named Dalton Kincaid. Keep that in mind for fantasy. That dude's going to catch touchdowns.
Wide receiver for who?
He's a tight end
Oh,
out of
tight end.
University of Utah. His name's
Mm,
Dalton Kincaid.
dang.
So they already had They already had Knox, but I don't know if they re-signed him or not. I haven't looked into it. But the fact that they drafted this guy first round means that I think they plan on making him a big part of the offense. And you got Diggs, you got to stop. I'm pretty sure they got a running back in free agency, if I'm not mistaken. Don't remember who it was, but Buffalo should be they should be very solid again.
That's good. Yeah, I'm thinking that you're right with that. I also,
So
you know,
right
who
now
I think is
I
too.
can't pick an AFC team, but I'll give you Philly for the NFC for sure.
I think okay, but I think it's either going to be Philly or Niners. You see how solid
Yeah,
Niners was when they're changed last year. I don't know how they did on the draft by any means, but they already have such a solid team, and I don't even
I
know
thought they
who's
had
going
a
to be
kind
the
of
start.
I thought they had kind of mediocre draft.
Really, they had a mediocre one,
Mediocre draft.
but
But
they
here's the
still have a
problem with
solid team.
them. The only reason I didn't say them is because Brock Purdy had elbow surgery right after that NFC Championship game.
Right,
I
right.
don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah,
And right now, they don't have any. They have Trey Lance, who's
Trey Lance.
also
Yeah,
coming
that's
off
it.
of injury.
Right, right,
So I don't know who their quarterback is.
right.
And you know, as much as you would like to just, hey, I can rely on a guy who was a seventh round pick coming back from an elbow injury to play quarterback for me, I can't bank on that.
Right, right. That's a very good point.
So I was like, I'll wait till I find out his status before I can accurately predict them.
Yeah, because it depends on which one it is too. Because Trey Lance,
Yeah,
he only played like 3 games before he got injured last year too, I
yeah,
believe, right? Yeah,
yeah, and
and then
they lost two of those 3 games. So
yeah, right,
so
right,
I'm
yeah.
also like, huh? And they lost to the Bears last year,
My God,
and
that's
then the
crazy.
Bears. I think after the Bears were 2-1 at the time they beat the Niners, and they lost like I think they lost 12 straight games, and then they won one more game to only get 3 wins. And I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens. But
Right.
I got a
Yeah.
couple sleepers that
Yeah.
I think can make some noise next year. Maybe ones that people don't think are going to be any good.
Like who?
On the NFC, I mean, I don't know if the Lions could be a sleeper anymore.
What is going on with the Lions? Why does everybody think they're doing good? Their first half of the season sucked, and then all of a sudden, after 6 games, they became a team, and they were
They
like
played great
unstoppable.
the
They
second
lost
half of the year.
one. They only lost like 1 or 2 games from the seventh game on. It was, dude,
They played
crazy.
well.
Never seen that.
The problem with that is that so they probably had the worst draft of everybody in the league, which
Oh,
was super
jeez.
disappointing
Yeah.
considering that they had multiple first round picks and they also like they traded down to like the 12th overall pick from 7 and they I thought they were doing that to, acquire more picks, which they did, but they used it to draft a running back.
Oh,
And I'm like, you didn't need that. You needed so many other things.
right. Well, no,
And
because they did get rid of Jamal Williams.
they got rid of Swift too.
They got rid of Swift.
They got rid of Swift like 2 days ago. But
Dude, I
but
did
here's the
not
problem.
know
They signed
that.
okay, so the guy they drafted, who I actually think is a good player, Jameer Gibbs. He's out of Alabama. Good player, very versatile. He kind of reminds me of Christian McCaffrey a little bit,
Oh yeah,
but I mean, I don't know if he'll be as good, better, I don't know, but
right.
he has a similar style of play. But they drafted 12th overall, man. Like you could have got Jameer Gibbs in like late second round. You could have got him early third round. And like I don't know, like they could have got so much more for what they traded down for.
Yeah.
They were actually I looked at like maybe 3 or 4 different football publications on draft grades after the draft, and almost every single one had the Lions having the worst draft overall because of just they reached for so many players. But we'll see. They're kind of a sleeper, but people are talking about them, so maybe they're not.
Yeah.
My probably biggest big sleeper would be in the NFC. I wonder if you can guess who it is. I'm curious.
Why not Packers?
No,
The biggest sleeper in the NFC.
I think that they could have a surprisingly good year. I think people just forgot about them because they didn't have a good year last year. But I think people they'll be reminded again. Oh wait, they were great the year before, and that's the Rams.
The Rams. You think the Rams are gonna do good?
Dude, I think people just have forgotten about the Rams because they had such a bad year last year,
They had such
but
a
they also
dude. They
had
had a Super Bowl championship winning year to go into like a dog crap year. Dude, I've never seen anything
so
like that. Like for them to fall off so hard. That I mean, yeah,
they had probably as bad as a stretch of injuries though as any team in the league could have had. You know, they lose their quarterback, who's their best player. They lose Cooper Cup, their best wide receiver. They had Jalen Ramsey here and there, kind of. He's no longer on the team. He can't be a cancer anymore. They had a pretty solid draft, and I just think that they're going to put up points again, man. Like Sean McVay is a good coach, and he knows offense.
yeah,
So, now in that division, like I mean, Seattle had what was considered probably the second best draft of everybody in the league. Everyone's going to be on Seattle's nuts all this year, guaranteed. But they just paid Geno Smith a ton of money. Um, because they had a good draft, their roster should be good. But then, you look at the rest of the division, Arizona's gonna be horrible this year. Like they're gonna be one of the worst teams in recent memory in the NFL. They should be terrible. So that's 2 wins right there for the Rams
right, right, true,
at home and on the road. They're gonna win both those games.
yeah.
And then, like I said, and then you got the Niners, which their roster is great, but right now we don't know who their quarterback is, so I can't really bank on that. I think
Right.
the Rams just sneak in and win like 10, 11 games somehow.
Mm,
Maybe
that's
not win the Super
possible.
Bowl, maybe not go deep, but
Right.
I think they win more games than people think.
You think they'll be in playoff contention? Like, do you think they'll
Yeah,
make the playoffs?
they'll have a shot at a wild card, I think.
Yeah. Did you hear about Aaron Rodgers' darkness retreat though? I mean, obviously we've heard about that. I don't think that many
Mhm.
people have like touched on that subject though. It's funny because I actually watched like a whole video of somebody going through it. Like they put in a camera, like a
Wait, they
infrared
went
like
to it?
thermal camera, who went to the retreat, who did the whole thing, who did like it was literally like they did 4 days in complete darkness. That's like literally like an apartment that they have. And like the guy was like doing like meditation and everything else like that. But dude, it was
What?
completely dark. And you only ate like once a day too, like through the whole thing. Dude, it was wild. I watched this guy do it. And he was like talking about it. He was like talking to himself, like trying. He goes, dude. He goes, it was hard. He goes, but then when I got out, he goes, I did feel mentally free. So when you first get in there, you go in at nighttime so that your body gets adjusted to like being in the dark. And dude, he passes out like around 11 o'clock, slept for 16 hours straight, like nothing, and then just woke up like in the dark. And he goes, okay, he goes, I have no idea what time it is or anything else like that, but I'm just gonna go ahead and feel around. Like I could only imagine, like
What?
for dude, I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy. You got to see the video for this because
Oh,
it's like
oh.
because the guy, and it's like it's funny is because like the only time that he knew his buddies was watching him is because they would move the infrared camera that was in there to let him know, like, hey, we're nearby, like we're watching you. And he would just like, I think he would sit in front of the camera and he would just like do like a talk or something. It was like he would just like talk to them, like his friends, like, oh, I'm doing okay, and blah blah blah. I was like, whoa, dude,
Whoa.
it's super different. I was like,
He
man,
was
it's like
there for a long time.
who?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he was there. He was there for like 3 or 4 days, and that's this the video that I saw. He did it for 3 or 4 days too.
Damn.
Yeah, it's different,
He's
dude. And
looking
they have a wait list in order. It's like a year-long wait list in order to even do this. And there's a lot of people that quit. Like the door's unlocked. You can like literally leave like at any time, like from the dark. But it's supposed to be like mentally freeing for you, and that's the reason why he decided that he wanted to do that. I don't know if he did drugs before he went in. I mean, that's
weird.
something that would have been like
He's
either way. It was like
Remember you heard about him doing like ayahuasca
Ash.
and shit? Like,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah. So I thought it was weird, but like he's Aaron Rodgers is a weird guy, man. Like
Oh yeah.
I think people know that, so they weren't like that surprised. I was more surprised about the drug stuff. I didn't think he was out here, you know, token up and
with
doing
the
all this shit.
psychedelic stuff. That
Like,
I was so fascinated to hear that on the Aubrey Marcus podcast, man. It was like, I mean, it was he was talking about his whole journey about going on that. And there's other people that have like followed in that suit. Like apparently it's like becoming like really, really common, but you have to go to like a whole nother country in order to do it. Like South America.
he's a weird dude. I feel like if you like knew him outside, like if we knew him personally, we'd be like, damn, this guy's kind of weird, but like he's really good at football, so like whatever. Like but we would like talk about it. Like we'd be like, man, Aaron's kind of different, man. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think a lot of these guys are
Yeah,
like kind of weird dudes. They just are good at what they do.
yeah, yeah. I agree with
Like
that.
Tiger Woods is definitely a weird guy,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
like he's just the greatest golfer who's ever lived. But
Right.
he's
I don't
definitely a
know
weird.
about Everly. I mean, he's a freaking phenomenal, definitely top three. But I mean, he's up there with what Arnold Palmer and
Oh well, he's the
Jack
best.
Nicklaus,
Period.
Jack
Like,
Nicholson. That's the only
I
two
don't care if
golfers I can even think.
Jack Nicklaus has more majors than him. Still, Tiger hasn't caught him in majors.
Right,
He doesn't have to. Like
right.
he's like the same. He's like LeBron for me. Like LeBron, he don't have to get 6 rings to catch Jordan. I think he done already caught him and passed him.
Who,
But
LeBron?
yeah, in my
Oh,
opinion,
I didn't want to go into that conversation. Oh
in
my
my opinion,
goodness.
yes, absolutely. But Tiger Woods, he don't. Tiger Woods don't need to win 18 majors. He has 14. Jack Nicklaus has 18. He don't
Yeah,
need 18.
yeah.
He's literally changed the game of golf. Jack Nicklaus never changed the game of golf ever.
Why you say
Golf was
that?
the same. Golf was the same pre Jack Nicklaus and slightly post Jack Nicklaus.
Oh,
It was just
okay.
old white guys playing.
Hold up. You got to think about this though. Okay, and I understand where you're coming from on that aspect, but dude, think about how much better that the clubs have gotten over the last like even 10 years versus
Right.
30, 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that it was like a harder sport to play, just like how they were talking about how basketball was a harder sport to play back when who's the guy that won all the rings for Boston Celtics?
Oh, Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like they were saying like, oh, it was a different ball game then. And it's like, yeah, you're probably
It's a
right.
little different, obviously. Like
Yeah,
eras are different, but like as far as basketball, that's a little tougher to argue because it's like the eras are different, rules are different,
right,
but the
right.
size of the players is different. Like
Hmm.
all that stuff's
The
different. But
talent was
golf,
different too,
but like
especially back in the '70s versus how it is now. Like now in the NBA, there's so much more talent. But back when Bill
way,
Russell went, he was just
yeah,
being able to dominate because he was so good. Like and it's like if you thought about him
yeah.
playing against all these other guys that are also very good, then it's definitely an argument to be had.
I would say golf is so much better now than it ever was, though. And even though the clubs are better, that's true. Technology's better. Things are going to evolve. They've lengthened the courses too. They've made the courses longer because
Yeah,
Jack Nicklaus wasn't playing. He wasn't playing all 7,000 yard courses like
right,
all the
right,
time. Some of those courses were probably 62, 6,300 based on him, hitting actual woods.
right,
Not
right. That's true.
not
And they didn't even
titanium
have as
iron.
many. They
You
didn't
know,
have as many courses back then either. Like now, they're like
yeah.
even more, and they try to make them more extravagant
Yeah,
and
and they're
bigger.
making them super difficult
Oh
now too.
yeah,
Like the conditions they're making these dudes play some of these tournaments in. I don't think people understand how hard these golf courses are. And like my dad was telling me because my mom and dad went to the Masters in 2007, so they got to see Augusta National and what it looked like. And like you see it on TV, like it looks like it's pretty undulated. It's hilly. He said it does TV doesn't know justice. When you see it in person, you don't realize how insanely like hilly that course is.
wow.
Like like how you're hitting uphill, downhill, like you're hitting off of side hills, like crazy stuff. And I'm like, Augusta's always been that way, probably, but dude, they're doing stuff to these courses now that are just ridiculous. So you have to have these damn clubs to hit the ball far enough to even like avoid the danger.
Right. Oh my goodness, that's
But it's
crazy.
nuts, man. It's
I
nuts.
like where golf is evolving to, though. You see how where they did the waste management
Mhm.
course where they had this, and they did
I want to
another
go to
one
it.
that was just like that. And I was like, man, I was like, this is where golf should be. This is like the Happy Gilmore of golf. You know what I'm saying? Like this, I mean, like if they had that, like if they had the waste management stuff now, that would be like part of the movie in Happy Gilmore to say like, oh yeah, this is where he goes, where everybody's cheering and everything else.
I think golf's kind of gaining some traction, man, because now they've got controversy too with like live golf versus PGA golf, which is also fun.
What's live golf? I don't even know what that is.
So you don't even know about live golf?
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Okay, so there's always been the PGA Tour, obviously the main tour
Right,
for
absolutely.
the professional golfers. You got European Tour and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
now, so Greg Norman, who used to play on the PGA Tour, he came out with, they call it like the Saudi tour kind of, because so like Saudis bought, like they partnered with Greg Norman and like they started their own tour. So now it's like split up. So like you have to look it up and just read some stuff about it. But basically the Saudis started throwing all this money at all these players for the PGA tour to try to get them to come play in their tour.
But
So
is
like
it
Justin,
overseas though too?
no, they I mean they play overseas sometimes, yes, but they play here.
There you go.
Really?
There you
So
go.
so tell me, I mean, so now you know how the kid life is. Do you and Nicole want kids? Am I allowed to say that
Oh,
on here? Do I have to cut that out?
you don't have to cut it out. We we'll have some kids. I hope that we have two and only two, because I want a boy and a girl. I think she also wants a boy and a girl.
There you go.
If we get one of this, like if we get two of the same, then we'll go for a third.
Go for a third.
But to get the other, if we get two boys, we'll try to get a girl. If we get two girls, try to get a boy. If we get three of the same, we're done after that.
Done. Like three
Yeah.
is the absolute max. Like two would be
Dude, that's a
perfect.
lot,
Three is the
man.
max.
I know how expensive kids are just because
Oh boy.
and like I'm not trying to have those problems. So I'm like three is a lot to me. Like if you have
Oh,
more
dude,
than
I know.
three, I feel like it's too much. It's too
Dude, I
much for
have
me
three.
anyway.
I have three kids. My and Jocelyn,
Right.
she wants one more. She's like, like you have three kids. I only have one kid,
True.
so I want to.
True.
I'm like, all right, man. Well, we'll
Yeah.
see if it's in the works.
That's why I'm like, man, three is it.
Mm-hmm.
Done. Three max.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if I
That's
get three, it's because I didn't get what I. If I end up with three, it's because I didn't get what I wanted.
right. 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 Exactly. Understandable.
I remember me and Nicole like were like dating like early on, and then we started talking about that. She wanted to have like way more. Like she wanted like five,
Like a
six.
littering. That
Like
same
she
with
wanted like
Jocelyn. Jocelyn's
like
like,
a
oh, I want a
monster
big
family.
family. I'm like,
And I'm
what?
like, I'll be like, I'll be like, I'll be like, I work in a hotel and you're a teacher. Like we're not paying for five, six kids to do anything. If we do have five or six kids, we're gonna live on the east side. We're gonna be living in the hood because we can't afford anything else.
That's hilarious. Right. I know it's even hard, especially when you're trying to get like obviously you want to put your kids in sports, like I have them have a good extracurricular activity and that's
Yeah.
and my son he picked the most expensive sport you could pick, which is hockey because you have
Mm.
to supply all the
You have to buy
equipment.
all
Like
the
you
stuff.
have to, yeah, it's not like where it's like football where it's like, oh yeah, you get to rent out the gear and then they give it back. Like
They
when we
give
were
you
playing
pads,
football, it was,
whatever.
yeah, when we were playing football, it was easy. It was like all up in the, it was all one sign up, probably. I don't know what the
Still
price
is
was
like they. I
back
mean,
then.
you get. I mean, they're gonna give you the jersey. They're gonna give you the pads. They're gonna give
Right,
you the helmets. They're gonna give you all. You just need cleats. That's it.
right, exactly. And a cup, and that's it.
Yeah. But like, yeah, hockey's super expensive. Baseball's super expensive.
Why is baseball
Um,
expensive? Because isn't it just the
Dude,
cleats?
gloves, bats, cleats, like,
They don't provide
'cause
the
like,
bats. Like you have to bring your own bat.
no, dude.
I never played baseball growing up, so I didn't
Oh,
know.
yeah, I had to buy all my like and I mean, once you get to like little league and like early on in little league, not a big deal. Like
Yeah,
I didn't have like super like nice shit. I just had like reasonable stuff.
yeah.
But like you get to like high school level, like that stuff's like my bat. I remember my bat, my cleats, my glove. This was in high school. All combined was probably like $800 or $900
Wow.
because the bat was probably about 350. The glove was probably about 250, 300, and then with my cleats, it came out probably about 800.
Dang.
And that's I had nice stuff. Granted, like I got like a Wilson A2000. Like pros have that glove. Like I got
Oh,
nice
dang,
stuff,
wow, yeah.
but I mean, if you're gonna be like
If you're
going
gonna
into
go
upper levels, you
into
kind
it,
of need that. Like,
right, that
and,
makes sense.
and I also had like I swapped gloves with a guy that I was at a pitching camp with
Mm.
back when I was in high school. So I like basically swapped the same type of glove to get the glove I really wanted, which was the one he had, and
Oh,
he just happened to
nice.
want mine. So like we did that.
There you go. Like a
Yeah,
trading cards,
bats and stuff, man.
except with gloves.
I had you remember Nike Shocks like had the springs in them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
had those. So I had the cleat version of those.
They
What's
made a cleat version?
dude? And my
So
on
like
top
was
of
it
that,
did it still have the open thing so you could see the spring in it
yes,
too?
yes.
Really?
But they had cleats on. So they were so sick, and I had those in high school too. And it was like I remember when I got them, and like all my teammates were like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "Dude, yeah, I had to get the shocks, man. I had to. I had to be clean, man,
This
because
was
I never,
baseball?
yeah,
Dang, that's crazy.
I never swag. I didn't swag. Now, granted, it's a little different. Like when you get to college, like they
Yeah.
gave me all the like they gave me all my gear in college. So like we had team cleats that they gave us. They were sick too. They were Nikes. But like all my gear, I only thing I had to bring to college when I played was my glove. That was it.
Okay.
They gave me like a team bag. They gave me like all my like gear that I wear to practice. They gave me all my game gear, my hats, my um pretty much everything. Bats, you had to get that if you're a position player and you were a hitter, you had to bring your own bats. But
Okay.
I was a pitcher, so I didn't need to bring bats. I was never going to hit,
Oh, okay.
so I just had to bring my glove, and that was it. They gave me my workout bands, like my elastic bands, to like do all my exercises and stuff for that. So once you get to college, it's kind of different. But yeah, dude,
Yeah.
when you're in like youth sports, man, that's I think that's honestly that's part of why if you look at youth sports teams in general, you don't see black kids playing hockey. You don't see black kids playing baseball because it's too expensive, man. Or like
Really?
certain like socioeconomic like groups,
Mm-hmm.
they can't get involved in that specific sport because it just costs too much money. Why do you think the NBA is 80% black? It's not by luck, it's by socioeconomics.
You
Because
really think
basketball's
so?
a lot of it, it's a cheap sport to play. What do you got to do?
That
Just
I mean, you're
tennis
not
shoes.
wrong about that. It's
That's
just you
it.
just gotta bring a ball.
Hey, you got tennis shoes? We'll bring the
Right.
ball. We got the court. You know, you learn how to hoop. That's all you got to do. There's not much to it. Football, same thing. Football, the NFL, it's mostly black. There's a
Well, I would say
reason.
the in baseball it's really mixed up now. I mean, I would say that there's
Hispanic.
definitely culturally different. Oh yeah, there's a lot of Hispanics, there's a lot of black people, there's a lot of white people. I think that like well, if you look at the
There's
major
not a lot of
league
black
baseball,
people.
you don't
There's
think
not a lot
so?
of black in the major leagues.
Yeah,
I think the stat. I'll have to see what the stat is this year for current rosters, but
yeah.
like the number of actual African Americans in Major League Baseball has been on like a steady decline for like 20 years.
Really, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
because it's just not because a lot of kids aren't playing it at the youth level.
Hmm.
So then by the time they could even get to college to play or play beyond, they've already been phased out of the game. They're already behind or they're already not playing the game.
Oh
So,
wow.
that's why basketball's honestly, that's why it's 80% black because those kids are playing like they're growing up. Well, we can't afford to get you ice skates and hockey sticks and gear or get you
Shoot,
baseball
I could
gloves
barely
and
afford
stuff
that,
like
man.
that.
It's like,
It's
man.
tough. And a lot of these hood kids, they're just that. They're hood kids, man. But they can go out there and find a hoop somewhere. As long as somebody's got a ball with air in it, that's all they need.
Right,
Easy to
right.
play. Football,
Yeah.
same thing. I can find a football. I can hit people. I don't need pass to hit somebody if I want. You know, I can learn
But
the
that's how we
game
used
in
to
the
play
street.
back in the day, man. When I was like in
Yeah,
fourth and fifth grade, we would just find
you know.
like a patch of grass and then just
For a
throw the
minute,
ball back and forth.
I
Absolutely.
remember as like a young kid, we played two hand, for a while, but then
Oh
eventually
yeah.
we stopped even playing two hand. We just hit people then.
Yep. Yep.
And
Absolutely.
you're like, all right, whatever. We gonna just hit each other. We
Right.
taking you down. We gonna
Yep.
tackle.
Yep.
That's how a lot of kids. That's honestly how a lot of kids get good. And like, it's not like this like specialized. Like we're in like a specialized sport kind of world now. I don't think it's necessarily the best guys in all these leagues. Yeah, they played it in a organized like environment eventually, but a lot of them they just learn by playing in the street or playing growing up or whatever.
Yeah.
That's why Hispanics for baseball. So I've read a lot of stories and seen a lot of videos on some of the upbringings of some of these players, and a lot of them they don't have money either. But the thing is like they're playing it in the streets. They got sticks. They got like makeshift balls that they use
Well,
like
that's how it
to
was
simulate
played
the
back
game.
growing up too, if you think about it. Because even in the movies, they were showing like, oh yeah, they would do like a street baseball game where they would just get, just like how you said, they would find like a little area, kind of like how when we used to play football, they would have the sticks, and then they would just make their own bases as they went, or find a place, because there is a lot of places that have like um the grounds and the bases, and a lot
Mhm.
of people go there now and they'll just be like, oh, we're gonna play a kickball game, or we'll play
Yeah,
something else versus baseball on. I just feel like I just feel like over the last few decades it's just changed a lot, because, and I think another
yeah,
thing is too, if you want my honest opinion, I think it's also the technological advances that we've had, because I think that a lot more people are inside versus outside. Back when me and you were growing up, we had to be outside because that's where all the fun was. That's where all the toys. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like we didn't have like
True.
we had video games, you know what I'm saying, but we didn't have
Or
like
you
all
have
these
stuff.
iPads and
Yeah,
like TV or whatever else that we wanted. Like we would have like TV when parents said we could have TV. We would have video games when we could have otherwise we'd be outside
played
with our
outside.
friends, like trying to play sports, or hanging out and getting exercise. I feel
I
like
remember just riding bikes. Like, did you ever just ride bikes?
absolutely,
Like,
yeah, dude. I used to just run my bike, and then I would go out, and then the rule of thumb was that you had to come back on, or come back
when the
home when
street
the
lights
street
came
lights
on.
came on. Yeah.
Mhm. Dude, that's the golden rule of thumb. Same
Right,
thing,
right.
man.
I
Dude,
don't think that's even a thing anymore.
When I lived in Jackson, it was literally like when I was growing up in Michigan, it was the same thing. Like we I would I wouldn't ever like I almost rarely walked to anybody's house in my neighborhood. I always rode my bike or my scooter, whatever it was. So it's like, and we would I would ride my bike to like my buddy Tyler Steenrod's house, and then I would like Tyler Thomas, who you might have met in my wedding. He he lived down the street from us too. I'd ride my bike to his house, but then we'd like play basketball in his like front yard. So we
Oh
were outside
wow.
the whole time. Like we almost never went inside.
Right, right. That's
Like
that's
we went
that's the way
inside to
I
like
grew
go to
up
the
too.
bathroom or
Yeah,
like get
right.
water, you know.
That's what I was gonna
Then
say.
we
Get
came
something to
back
eat
out.
or whatever. Right, exactly. I remember like there was we outside so much. I remember there was this guy. There was like a neighbor guy, just an older guy, sweet as could be. And if he saw us, like it was like a group of kids, he'd be like, "Hey, I got some popsicles. I'm gonna bring some popsicles over." I'm like, Dad, this guy's gonna get some popsicles. Okay? He's like, yeah, he's cool.
Otter pops, the
Yes, yes. And it
best.
was like the good ones too. And it was also the ones he would either have those ones that you said, or he would have the ones the plastic ones where you have to um bite into it or cut it. The plastic
Oh,
ones, you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
I don't remember what they're called. Icy pops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember Mondos? Did you ever have Mondo?
No.
Oh man, Mondos were good too. They were like this like fruity drink. They were like kids used to have them all the time. I haven't had a Mondo in fucking 25 years,
Dude,
but
do you remember Dunkaroos growing up?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, man. Do you know I found them at like a convenience store. Like they were like brought them back. And I was like, no way. I sent it to my sister and everything. I was like, dude, I cannot believe I just found these. Like the little cracker with a dip. I
They're
was like,
good.
those were even more popular than Oreos at that time frame. Because you would just do it and then you
Dunkaroos.
dip how much frosting that you wanted instead of it like already be sandwiched in a cookie.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. That was back in the day.
absolutely. That was fun.
Back in the day. I need to go back to old Jackson, Michigan one of these days. It's been like a year, a little over a year because I went last year
Oh, nice.
and it was interesting because I
Oh,
had
that's
not
right. Yeah,
been.
you said you went up north that time though, right? You didn't actually go
I
to.
I no, I did both actually because I went to Traverse
Right, right.
uh,
Yeah, I remember that.
last year
Yeah.
for my cousin Ben's bachelor party because he did it in Traverse.
Okay.
Also, like the weird, so like our bachelor parties could not have been more different. Like 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 we were on like basically like a boys like golf trip
Mm,
essentially, in Traverse City, in the middle of the woods, not close to anything else,
Oh man.
like straight, like wooded area. And then mine was on South Beach, Miami. Like could not have been around more people doing more. Like it
That's
was
funny.
wild. Do you guys have
Uh,
Yen King in Lansing?
Yen King? No, I've never heard
It
that.
was like a Chinese place. I think maybe it's only a Jackson thing,
Yo,
but
you know what they got in Jackson though? That is phenomenal.
oh,
Clavons.
oh yeah, you told
Oh,
what you've told me about. They got a
yeah. Oh,
Culver's there
yeah.
now too.
Bro, and you know what's so funny? I was talking with somebody last night. I just found out that they have a Jets Pizza here. That they just opened it up this year.
Here?
Dude, yes, Detroit style Jets Pizza. I was like, dude, I was like, I cannot wait. I'm gonna surprise Jocelyn. Jocelyn has no
Is it by
idea.
your house?
Yeah, it's in Henderson.
Oh, dude. Well, because yeah, I could drive right by it then since I go to GVR.
Dude, yes, it's actually right over there. It's off of Stephanie.
Oh, well,
Dude, I
shit.
I am super stoked about that. I was like, I could because I looked it up to show somebody else. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna Jets Pizza. You know, like it shows somebody in Michigan, and then all of a sudden, like it said, oh yeah, we have a location here in Henderson. I'm like, no
Like what?
way. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I was like, dude, I was like, I am jumping on that. I was like, I can't wait. Oh, it's so good
They
because it's that Detroit style. So it's like the crust is like this thick, but
yeah,
it's crispy. And then it goes
square it off, dude.
all the way back. Like, have you ever had Jets pizza?
Not no, I haven't.
Oh,
I've had Detroit style pizza, but not Jets.
right. Yeah, no, Jets. Oh, Jets does it right, bro. Oh, it's so good. So
I
good.
have to
Oh.
I have to find
All the
some sort of
Michiganders know. Like they don't realize how good they have it. It's guess what? And Jets started in Sterling Heights,
Okay.
Michigan, and now it's expanded, and they just opened one up over here. And I'm like, oh, I'm so
Mm.
glad I looked it up. I was like, man, I was like, they probably haven't even have enough business because people don't even realize that that's there. Because I had no
Damn.
idea.
You know what? I It's funny too because I was thinking about this. I didn't know if you had ever thought about this because me and my parents were talking about buying a house and stuff because me and Nicole are like kind of in the process of like looking
Right? Yeah.
and like
Me and Jocelyn
buying
too.
something here. But like my parents also have like they bought their house, which I'm the only child, so it'll be my house when they're gone. So
Okay.
essentially, I would hope to have two houses here, but I kind of want to buy a house in Jackson because, dude, it's like the cheapest shit ever.
Is
Like,
it?
dude, you can buy like a fairly nice house in Jackson by Jackson standards, of course,
Right.
but like for like 150, 160.
Like a 3 bedroom?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Depending on what part of town you're in, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, why would I not do that when if I can, get some money together
Right.
down the road,
Yeah.
and then I'll just have a place. I might just rent it to someone who I
Right.
know,
Right.
who I've known all my life, who's never gonna leave Jackson. I'll be like,
Yeah.
hey, I'll just let you pay my mortgage for me. Cool. And then you could just stay in Jackson forever.
Or you could even Airbnb it if you really wanted to too, and then you just have a cleaning service that would take
True,
care of it if you already have it fully um furnished. Furnished.
true.
What's the furnished?
Furnished.
Furnished.
Yeah,
Couldn't think of that word for a second.
yeah. Thought about it, but yeah, I gotta make a run back to Jackson, and I can hopefully stay for like a few days.
Yeah.
Mhm. Just see old stuff. I saw some old stuff, man. It's funny when you go back and like we went to one of my buddies, we went to one of his places. He ironically lived like right down the street from one of the apartments I grew up in. And this dude he was like big time football player, really good dude. Like I went to middle school with him, like all the stuff. And we go back and like we're in his apartment, man. His apartment was junky as fuck, bro. And, like, he's got, like, 2 baby mamas, like, one of them was there. They're,
Oh
like
man.
they're smacking, like, handles of alcohol, he's, like, down bad, and I'm just, like, thinking, I'm like, "Man, like, the turn your life took, man." I'm like, "You need to get out of Jackson when you got a chance, brother."
That's how I
Now
feel about it. I feel
that
like
dude's
anybody
stuck.
should get away from their hometown for a little while, so that way they can experience. I because when I go, that's exactly what I see when I go back to Michigan. I see the same people doing the same stuff, and I
Dude,
was
and
like, oh
I'm
man,
seeing the same thing, like, all over
yeah, yeah,
like,
and they're like,
Instagram, Facebook, I'm sitting here, I'm like, "Man," like, I'll see this girl, I'll be like, "Dang, I remember, like, that girl used to be so cool, so fine," whatever it was, and then I see him now, and I'm like, "Man, what a bullet." that we straight
Right.
dodge.
Right.
'Cause they are
Right.
living rough.
Ah, man. Yeah, exactly. And they're all freaking crazy too, man. Trust me, I dated a handful of them, and they're all
They're
nuts.
it's nuts, man.
Sorry, Michigan women. I apologize in advance
Nah.
for that.
You can Google, you should Google that Charles Barkley when he talks about women in San Antonio because he roasts them too.
Oh, he does.
He talks about, dude, you could just go to YouTube and put in Charles Barkley, San Antonio women. You'll get a great laugh. He's 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 the best person. Like if like and he doesn't even go on podcasts like ever. Like he just like he'll interview with people who are like talking to him and he's like
Yeah.
not in the studio. And like I watch a lot of him and I'm just like, what does he talk about? Like, how does he like deliver stuff? Like that's like what I want to model. Anytime I'm on a podcast, I want to model it after Charles Barkley.
Oh my goodness. Dude, I
That dude
sent
is
you
crazy.
speaking of which, I sent you that. I don't know if you saw it. I sent you on Instagram, Charles Barkley. He's golfing and he does it and he's like he misses and he's like he's talking to himself. He goes, "You fat piece of shit." Like
That sounds about right. Yeah, I don't think I haven't been on Instagram in like fucking 2 weeks.
really?
I don't get on it that often.
Ugh. But it was great having you on the show, man. I would love to have you back for sure.
Brenner B show, man.
That's
Good
right.
time.
That's
Thanks for
right.
having me on, man. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for your insight and your sports knowledge. I knew that you'd be great for that. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Brenner B Show. New episodes every Saturday. Please show your support by liking and subscribing only on YouTube and Spotify.